Well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Robert Potter. I live in Mount Shasta, California, and I wanted to share with you today a world situation report. The first phase here is I'm going to give a little background to myself and to what's going on so we can put this all in perspective. I have many new followers, and I wanted to share some information uh, with you. I guess first I can share so you can research me. Um, um, that I have a website, and this is the website. It's called The Promise Revealed, and I have some sliding banners here, and this is my kind of life story. Uh, I am going to be having a Mount Shasta summer workshop. This year, I'm not going to have a conference. I typically have a conference that has from 150 to up to 300 people. Um, and that will be coming out soon. And it's very important that I start sharing information so that this information can get to the people and that my teachings or my knowledge can be shared and people can decide if it's relevant, if they would like to come to this conference, this workshop, as I will call it. It's going to be much smaller this year, and we'll be doing some stuff on that in the future. Um, I I also have a YouTube channel which you can see here. It's called the Robert Potter channel, and you can actually search it by the name Baba Rob God there. But let's get back uh, to what I'm here to share. So this world situation report it can be quite deep and quite involved. And it takes a lot of understanding. And I'm going to explain to you and give a little bit about my personal experiences so that you can understand where my knowledge is coming from. And I want to make clear, I am not a channel. I am a telepathically connected contactee, and much of my information comes from my own inner guidance and my own experiences. I've worked very closely with a lot of very powerful contactees, and I've been meeting ascended masters my entire life. This is not about ego, and God knows you don't associate my personal blemishes with the teachings of the ascended masters. But I've grown a lot um, since I've had my physical contacts acknowledged by the Venusians and them allowing me to have video recordings and receive messages from them. I've met many of them um, throughout my life, and I'm going to say it's going to be over 40. Some of them are from the planet Pleiades and some are from Era. So this is the World Situation Report, and I'm just going to read this for you. Um, I first say I've been quiet recently. I've not done a lot about talking or posting or writing that I have released to the public at this point. I've also been going through some deep searching in terms of how I'm going to release this information that I've been given to share with the world. I realize that the world is in crisis right now, and many people do not understand what is going on and what is the cause of universal discord and anxiety that is taking place in the hearts and minds of many people upon the planet. I'm here to offer my perspective based on my own personal experiences of exactly what is going on and what this great awakening, this great shift into a golden age is all about. For me personally, this information is a result of a lifetime of a spiritual journey to know the truth and furthermore to know the whole truth. Um, God is truth. God simply is, simply is. God is the isness. God always was, is, and will be. There is nowhere that God is not, and anything that can be perceived or imagined in form or out of form is part and parcel of the infinite mind of God, and no one can explain God, even though I try right now. Any attempt to do so is merely us cloaking our ignorance in some pompous expression. This report is given and inspired to help people understand what is going on and what is to be coming to planet Earth. Okay, from my experiences in my life and working with these, I'll call them angels from higher dimensions who come in and out of time, literally. Um, you become humbled. You become humbled by their presence, by their wisdom, by their patience, and by their words, which are have a lot of meaning that will reach you on the interior of your inner understanding and realization. And I would call this opening of the third eye and opening of the third ear to let the inner voice of God come through you. God exists within you as you. In the Hindu religion, they call it Om Tat Sat. The Krishnas have a little picture of Krishna in there, and Krishna being a divine avatar similar to Christ, but different. We see the same thing with the heart of Jesus in every single person. When we realize we're all one, our actions will change. Um, I'm a face-to-face contactee um, of the people that come from Venus. I've been having contacts for approximately 60 years. I'm going to be 68 this year. Um, I am also a face-to-face contactee of the people that come from the planet Era. And this has been going on since the 1970s. I don't want to go too deep into that because this is going to be a long report, but I work with Dr. Fred Bell, a very famous, world famous contactee. And he was meeting Semyasi um, in the middle and early 70s. So he was a great scientist and he was working on advanced scientific information. And I can share that information through his book on my website called Rays of Truth and Crystals of Light. I was present during much of that book's creation and many of those experiences in there. I was personally present for different contacts that took place. And let's just say that's quite controversial, but I don't really care what people think at this point. Okay. I share my information freely for the most part without charge. In other words, I will come. I mean, I can't travel everywhere for free, but if someone pays my transportation, maybe my food, I will come and speak for free. I do have products on my website that I do sell, and this is how I make my living is by doing conferences that I put on that cost me money, and that I bring people in to share their information. Um, you know, not every conference. There's one in LA called the CLE, and they charge people $1,800 just to have a booth, and you can speak for 45 minutes, and you've got expenses. It's very expensive to go there. I actually will be traveling to the Conscious Life Expo. There's a woman I shared a booth with, and she's giving me a free space on her table. I will not be speaking, but I will be talking with many people. I'm going there to meet some of my dear friends and fellow contactees, JJ Hurtak, and some other people I'm slated to be connecting with. I'm also there to promote my Mount Shasta Summer Conference or workshop, which will take place from July 28th, or I'm sorry, from June 28th till July 3rd. There's only going to be room for 45 people, along with some, let's call them helpers. So this is going to be a very intimate conference, and we're going to be having the real Venusian who was born on Venus. Her name is Omnek Onnek. For those of you who've heard of the Contact from the Pleiades, that book was originated and conceived by Dr. Wendell, or I'm sorry, by by Colonel Wendell Stevens, who was a an early warning radar personage in the 60s. So he was a good friend of mine, and he researched Omnek, and he shares information and helped write a book about her uh, called From Venus I Came, and it chronicles her first book. On my website, you can see the second book, and I do recommend that um, you check that out. There's many things that are on my website and many uh, wonderful things that will help you understand the truth of what's happening. So I don't embellish or change my story in regard to my physical experiences or encounters in any way. Okay. I'm straight up. I'm not a BSer. I'm not here to get a million hits. I don't create content every day with the fancy backgrounds. I don't know how to do it. It would be cool to do that. I occasionally have a video that I share some information with. So I'm hoping that people will see the simple message. I let the message stand on its own. Um, as usual with many people in my position, I'm attacked constantly. I'm not concerned with anybody's opinion, even fellow allegedly contactees who claim to know it all and declare this person's correct and this one isn't. Many, especially some of those major ones who are claiming that they're correct, don't have a clue, and much of their information is wrong. Some of them are very well intended and have a lot of 85% truth, and a lot of them just embellish and make things up. Uh, Not that they're intending to. So always keep an open mind, always use discernment, and listen to your inner voice and see if the message resonates. There's so many things I have to share um, that I could talk for literally 5 days and never stop and always tell you something new. So it's a difficult process in this 15-second, attention span age to share this information with you. Now, I've sworn an oath. There was a Venusian named, well, he came from Venus. He's not actually a Venusian, but he's a created being, maybe an Elohim or something like that. His name is Commander Valiant Thor. He was appointed by Jesus the Christ, also known as Sanat Kumara, who held uh, the the avatar of Jesus the Christ a little over 2,000 years ago. And who he held was the Creator's Son. So for 3.5 short years, this ascended master from Venus of 24 million years held the Christ. And that's a very special position. Many people do not understand the importance of that mission. And you think of all the, 2 billion stars in this galaxy, why this lowly planet at the edge of the galaxy would hold the Creator Son. And he came here to judge the fallen. And there has been a fall in the galaxy, and we're going to probably go into that in a little in the future. But Valiant Thor asked me to join what is called the Order of Melchizedek. And I did so. And in an oath ceremony in Las Vegas, Nevada, when I stood up to take the oath in the inner circle meeting conducted by Dr. Frank Stranges, a uh, contactee of the Venusians since 1958 or 9, or maybe 60. Um, I was asked to join the inner circle as a direct calling from Valiant Thor. In that meeting, I think it was in 2005, I stood up to take an oath, and a human stood up in the front who was holding an avatar body of an earth person. He came up and placed his hand on my head. When I asked Valiant Thor later who that was, he said that it was a being named Unaya. And you can research the information of Dr. Frank Strange's. Craig Campobasso talks about him. Um, and let's just say he's been with the earth since before life began. We're dealing with these great beings and these higher administrators of the heavenly universe. We have to expand our mind and our beliefs and our realities. If this doesn't resonate with you, if you're triggered by the message or the life of Christ, if you want to sit in judgment and bigotry and hold your hatred, and my information is not for you. Bye bye. So I sworn an oath that this oath was for me to help my fellow man to act in a manner that reflects and is aligned with the truth of God and the ascended master teachings. I will say most notably the ascended master Jesus the Christ. I acknowledge and respect all the world's great teachers and avatars. The word avatar means descent of light. For really, you are a spiritual being and you take on a toga, a fleshly vehicle, to live an experience here in the, let's call it, the fallen world that we exist in. And that's another complex subject that I won't go into too deeply at this time, but you pretty much can understand when you look around and what's going on. And all these avatars, Christ, Krishna, Buddha. I'm sorry, you Christians who just can't grasp it, or you the Muslim religion who want to, blah, 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 blah. Look, none of you know the truth. You are not here to teach us what these masters' teachings are. And I'm going to be adamant about that. And I love people who recognize Christ, those great spiritual people in the Arabic area of the world who um, bow to Allah, to God. They bow to the same God that you do. There's only one God. He has sent his teachers amongst us to point the way. So you're going to have to grasp that because in the future, all of these religious structures are going to fall, they're going to falter, and they're going to fail. Many of them, and not intentionally, but the religious and spiritual leaders um, have fallen into false belief and don't understand the truth. And as mankind moves forward and puts away his weapons of destructions, his hatred, his bigotry, his anger, his greed, his materialism, his lack of compassion, his self-righteous, you know, in you know, control to uh, put themselves in positions of power and finance, will soon realize they've been grasping for tinsel and trash when the real gold lies within you, and that's your own personal relationship with God. So hold on a little while longer if you can and listen to this message. So I'm going to say I do have uh, been fortunate to, through Dr. Fred Bell, through Dr. Frank Strange's, through Louis Martens, and I'll say on the inner planes through J.J. Hurtak and through Dr. Raymond Keller, I've experienced physical encounters and many out of body and metaphysical experiences which cannot be validated or proven. So, um, in 2019, the Venusian hierarchy of light, at the behest of Raymond Keller, who knows the matriarchal head of the Venusian Society, which is matriarchal and patterned after the bees, requested that I have an experience. The Queen kindly gifted me an experience with our moon-based commander, Aura Reigns, and the security chief of the Venusians named Alan On in West Virginia. I was allowed a video recorded message, and I asked them, I think, I think it was 13 questions, of which they answered 8. Many people, including some very high level, very high profile Researchers and contactees have denied this experience after seeing the video, and with their arrogance have said, oh, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't wear makeup. They wouldn't read from a script. Well, I could not ask any question. These questions had to be filtered through the hierarchy of light because mankind is very triggered. The Venusian message is spiritual, though they work intently behind the scenes in military, finance, art, technology, and every facet of our world. Their primary focus is one of spiritual awareness. Okay. So they're not here about silver spaceships and spacesuits, but their spaceships are amazing. Their spacesuits are very cool. And the technology they possess would make many people become envious or jealous that they are enjoying this type of advanced technology. However, this reflects their inner harmony and their peace, and not always does technology uh, provide happiness, especially on Earth. Look at the diligence and the great focus that we've had to create weapons of destruction. Okay? Just because you have technology doesn't make you a good person. Many people are very focused on technology for their self gain, and this goes to the situation that we find ourselves on the earth today. And I'm going to talk about that maybe in a little bit. But I have video and voice recorded messages on my website, The Promise Revealed. You can listen to the voice recordings on my website, The Promise Revealed. Maybe I'll just share that with you so you can uh, check that out real quickly here. And I'm going to just share this uh, my website so you can see. I actually took that away, so here we go. So I'm going to show you on my website where you can find that. Um, and what am I sharing here? I'm not sharing anything. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to share this website. Sorry about that, folks. My technology is great. I don't have people going, hey, do this, show me that. Maybe I could have a lot of people ask to help me in the beginning, but I'm not about controlling people or taking people's energy or time without compensation because a workman is worth his labor, and we do live in a material world, but this should not be our focus. But for those who wish to donate time to me or have expertise in computers and things like that, I will accept it, and I can do barter, something like that. So here is the Truth References blog, and I'm going to share with you the Venusian messages. I have many more. I should probably get these up here. But you can read their messages and you can listen to um, here's the moon base commander. There's an image of her in the 1950s. She has changed her avatar body. She looks different. But the one thing that's the same are her eyes, her hair color, and her nose look very similar. Now, this is George Adamski, the first contactee in modern day to reveal to the public that he was talking to extraterrestrials. This was in 1952 when this extraterrestrial named Orthon, who was actually a woman, landed. This is another picture of the moon base commander at a giant rock convention. And here she was, I said, a woman who had a thing called My Flight from Venus. And here you'll see from the corner here, Valiant Thor, Don Thor, and Valiant Thor's wife, Jill. And people realized that they were Venusians. They were speaking an Afrikaans tongue, and they actually saw, uh, I believe it was Don Thor who jumped over a 15-foot fence. They were showing off a little bit, and they were there to um, share some information. So these are Venusian messages. And also, if you go to my homepage, I'm sorry, I'm not begging for money, but if you would like to see these messages and video recordings, it is assumed that most people will not pay money to just be a trash talker. If you're trash talked, you're going to be blocked off of any video, anything. You'll be taken out, and I'm just trusting, people in the world not to share these with anybody because you're going to have a going to pay for it, and you're going to be shown on. And so here we go. We're going to go able to go down a little farther. I have an inner circle membership. It's $59 for life. If you sign up, here is a free inner circle. You're going to get these things if you sign up. So you go here and you sign up for the inner circle meeting, and you will have access. Receive the recorded messages. Here's the contactee from the Pleiades. This is one of the four investigators, along with others, a brilliant scientist named Jim Delatoso, who worked on a lot of amazing advanced technology, telemetric helmets for space people, all this kind of stuff. The guy's a genius. He was the one that helped do the analysis. He came to Fred's house in the 70s or early 80s anyway. This was Britt Elders. She was the husband. They had a very advanced security and investigative company. Wendell Stevens got them involved. When they saw that, they came in. And of course, Wendell Stevens, Britt and Lee Elders, and another gentleman named Thomas Welch. So they came out with a two-part series. If you want to see the real amazing photographs of extraterrestrials posing, you can check out that interview and buy that book. Britt will be at the Conscious Life Expo. She is a person I'm intending to meet and spend time with. So that's where you go. Also, here's a shop. I'm going to just show you this real quick. So, and these are not my books, most of them. There's my book. It's that's if you're in an inner circle meeting, you don't need to buy that. So here's a friend of mine, Raymond Keller, who lived on Venus for 2.5 months. These are the books that he has. He have a 7 series of books. You can choose any 7 for 150. This is the Venusian who was born on Venus, came here in 1948 at the age of 141, and now is almost 200 years old. And she lowered her vibration from the high astral plane of Venus in order to determine how a physical body. She has been through a lot of ridicule in life, and she is a very powerful soul. I'm not going to tell you who she was, but she was around with Jesus. I'm just going to say that, and you can read that book and determine. I would get too much people upset. Dr. Frank Strange's, a friend of mine, wrote this book about his first encounter with Valiant Thor. Brad Steiger wrote this book about me and Fred Bell. I am the character named Eric. This is the Gospel of Thomas. You can read the introduction in my truth references under Jesus the Christ. It's 19 pages, and it talks about the Urim and the Thummim. You'll understand the Ark of the Covenant and how God worked through Jesus Christ. This is an incredible book by a wonderful contactee named Louis Martens. And all of these books here, this is Fred Bell's book, Rockets to Venus by Raymond Keller, tells of the lies. Here's a wonderful West Virginia paranormal gateway that talks about some very powerful psychics. This is my small little book. If you join the inner circle, you don't have to buy that. This is about a time travel from Venus into the past by mistake. And then this is all about the technology of the Venusians, the history of them on Earth. I wrote the introduction to this book too, an incredible book written by this woman in 1960, who died in 1995, and she was given a new body and ascended to Venus. And she handed this book to Dr. Raymond Keller. So um, you can get all of these books. You can buy 9, you can buy 3. There's incredible prices here. So I suggest if you want to learn something about Venus, about extraterrestrials, from the people that have been there and lived there, I think you should read these books. So I'm going to stop sharing here. And I thank you for letting me share this information with you. And I'm going to talk a little bit now. I'm going to end this video because I want this to get out there because I'm going to go through, I've been writing some articles and stuff to share with you what's going on in the world's political scene. And the politics, for the most part, everything is a lie. But there is a true political scene that's going on in terms of um, humans, the earth, how we've lived, who's created it and owned it. And God owns everything. And those beings who have fallen were in charge of the earth until 2012. And they work through hybrids of fallen angels who've been in positions of power. And I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the fires, who's starting that, the reasons why. And I'm also going to share with you in future videos here. Maybe I'll get another one in today, maybe not. We'll be talking about some very promising activities taking place. The ownership of the earth has been, for the most part, transferred to humanity, and there is a human representative who's held the position that was held by a fallen angel, which we would then call a demon, who hated humanity and who was utilizing various advanced technologies. And these go into stargates and portals. If you'd like to understand this, I recommend you look up the books. The Transylvania Sunrise series by Radu Sinamar, translated by Peter Moon, a well-intended person who has done an incredible job in translation. I'm going to say that. Uh, Radu Sinamar is a high-ranking general in Romania who's held a position and behind the scenes has been traveling interdimensionally in the inner earth and has been responsible in guarding and releasing information contained in secret repositories of the true history of the earth. Was Michael Sala and a gentleman named JP who works with the U.S. Army, who was asked to join the Army at the behest of his, I believe, Pleiadian uh, soul brothers, is going on very expanded experiences, and he is cleared by naval generals involved in the secret space program to release this information to the public. Because, ladies and gentlemen, what you think you know is not the truth. Let's put it this way. As I said, we're not alone, never have been, and never will be alone. My goodness, you can look at all the History Channel and the Alien Channel and this and that, and most of them are just looking around for lights and investigators talking about this and that. I'm a real face-to-face contactee. I've met ascended masters. I'm very fortunate. I've worked with Babaji, very high Indian teacher, saint. He taught me a science of the still breath called Kriya Yoga. This is not about blowing your mind with the mechanizations of the political intrigues that have gone on this planet in terms of the control and the parasiting of human energy or the lies perpetrated by the governments to keep mankind in ignorance so that they enjoy positions of power while they destroy the earth and create wars for profit. This is the truth. They call it theater of war because someone wrote that script, and that someone was a fallen being, a Draco named Marduk. I believe there's another being that was superior to him called Satan, who was a general a long, long time ago in this galaxy. And that would be Sataniel from the Orion system. And not all beings look human. There's insectoid races, there are reptilian races, they look like elephants, fish. I mean, the variety of God's creation is quite amazing. And everyone has something to offer, and some are actually in a higher dimension or plane called the mental plane. And so we all come from the soul plane, and that's where the pure essence of the soul is. So there's actually a hierarchy, an understanding of densities and dimensions and the flourishment of life that is tended to by higher beings who many who have fallen and are no higher than us and have gone against God's creation. And we're sitting down here in complete and utter ignorance. Okay? That doesn't make you less than. Know that God is within you as you, and that as you make the inside like the outside, and as you move away from materialism and more into creativity and imagination, you get outside of gravity. And this is explained in Dr. Fred Bell's book, Rays of Truth and Crystals of Light. For those of you who've had it, I suggest you go deeply into chapters 39 through 40. You can hear the wonderful experiences of the Pleiadians and the advanced metaphysical knowledge of the nature of the soul, of the first, second, and third ether, the etheric plane, and the different dimensions. Some people talk about the etheric plane being everywhere. That is incorrect. The physical plane is solid, liquid, gas, ionic, and the three ethers. The astral plane is another density. And the astral plane would have an etheric plane. There are 7 levels to that plane that might be, you could maybe call it the etheric plane in relationship to what is called the mental plane. And you have the lower mental plane and you have the higher mental plane. And the higher mental plane would be called the Buddhic or the uh, higher manas plane. And manas mean like we could call them subtle dimensions. And there are worlds upon worlds, ladies and gentlemen. We have 60 planets in our solar system, of which on the physical plane, we can only see 12. What? Yeah. So there are celestialized spheres of beings from higher worlds that live here, and they're not going to allow this world to be destroyed. I can promise you that there'll be no nuclear weapons, no nuclear wars. There may be some dirty bombs, limited nuclear activity. And the crazy people, traitors to humanity, who have been running this planet based on their bloodlines and their psychopathic, sociopathic, mind controlled selfishness of materialism that have been attracted here and taken incarnation are soon to see the end of their reign. The Creator had covenants, and these covenants with humanity were like a balance between the dark and the light. We would have a light age, a neutral age, a dark age, a neutral age, and a light age. We're now ending those series of ages and we're moving into a golden age. And I'm hoping, from what I'm understanding, that it's a golden age throughout the entire galaxy, that this entire galaxy will ascend in a high level. So imagine all of the worlds, the infinite number of worlds, not, in the omniverse, let alone, the 2 billion suns and the 200 million, you know, uh, there's all types of creation going on, all types of civilizations and cultures with many different looks. And I've shared these through the years, and I'm hoping to do more intimately share with you various races and more intimate information about the Iargans, the Corridorians, the people from Koldas, of course, the Pleiadians, uh, the moon of Saturn. They got some Ganesha beings. It's a wild, wild universe. And we think we're prejudiced here against black people, or black people are prejudiced against Chinese, or whatever that is. It's nothing because we're all human. All right. We even have Anunnaki, which are humans and being inhabited by hybrid souls. There's also a type of possession or a control matrix. These are some of the deeper aspects of understanding what's going on here on the planet, ladies and gentlemen. And you're going to have to really put aside your beliefs of religion, of what you think communism is, and what you think democracy is, and what you think, capitalism is. When you kind of think of it, capitalism is kind of like me all through the day. I mean mine, making yourself, enriching yourself at the expense of others. You tend to go into what the communists would call the proletariat, the working class, and your job is to get everything done at the cheapest by putting people in sweatshops in foreign countries, and then you reaping millions of dollars instead of understanding the law of allowance and the law of allegiance. The law of allegiance lets us know that we are all one, and that as I do unto others, as I would have done unto myself, I would flourish. But to the extent my selfishness, my materialism, my greed, my disrespect for nature and creating products that destroy the planet, or an incessant culture of consumerism, which is destroying the planet, its ecosystems, we realize that God is going to intervene. So, the World Situation Report, part one, I'm going to end it that things are going to get tough here. Nature is going to rebel. The governments are out of money. They used to have a little demon that would give them money for wars and for anything. And that is no longer possible, ladies and gentlemen. This system was run on a quantum intelligence, artificial AI that was programmed by a fallen being. Okay. And that being always had control of this quantum system. Now that system is in control under the watchful eye of ground command. And we are moved into a new age where the masculine energy is no longer dominant. We now have a matriarchal ground commander. This ground commander is extremely ethical, positive, powerful, and works in dimensions that you couldn't possibly even access. She doesn't work on physical computers. Let's just say that she's out of body doing a lot of good things for you. She's protecting us, as the Venusians have protected us against nuclear power, mutations, and repelled various invaders throughout the centuries and throughout the millennia. The Venusians have been here for 24 million years. Our recent civilization of human from Cro-Magnon started about 425,000 years ago. And this is recorded in the Forgotten Genesis book of Radu Sinamar in the Transylvania Sunrise series. For those of you who think the earth is flat, I suggest you read that book. Okay? So the earth has an interdimensionality to it, and there are beings that living below the surface in higher dimensions, physically as well, just as there are beings that living on the surface of the earth and within our atmosphere that are interdimensional. There are floating cities in the oceans and bases underneath the earth of ancient civilizations that continue and are quite fearful of us for what we can do and how negative we are. They're very smaller, very small in size, and their populations are not grand, and they have a network. And there's been a network of bad humans. Let's call them deep underground military bases. So I'm here because I have a very long knowledge and experience with extraterrestrials and the ascended masters. And I know the truth of what's coming and the divine plan and certain aspects of how it's going to unfold. So I want to prepare people And you're not going to be able to tell your friends about this. You can have them look at it, but they're not going to really understand. Aliens have been in control of the earth for how many thousands of years and what and this. It's going to not jibe with them. But I can go through all levels with you. I can take you through religion. I can take you through the science. I can take you through the spiritual gnosis that you can either resonate with or not. And I don't know everything, but I know a lot. Yeah, I know a lot. And I'm here to not tell you what's happening, but to educate you and let you make your own decision if my understanding resonates with you. Okay? There was a society named Atlantis. There was another land called Quello, 400, way before 400,000 years ago. In Atlantis and Lemuria, there were dinosaurs roaming the earth, not so far as you long ago as you would think. And there are many positive activities by our extraterrestrial friends and our inner earth. I will call them ascended masters, um, who have come here sometimes from other worlds because the earth had fallen. And those responsible, those archivists, those, let's say, responsible parties were following the dictates of a being that wasn't human, who didn't like humanity, didn't like God, and was a crazy materialist and murder and parasiting off of human energy, kind of like you would think of an ant. Oh, ants are nothing, and you kill them or whatever. But we're all one. That's why Christ said, "Thou shalt not kill." He didn't say just "Thou shalt not kill each other. Thou shalt not kill anything." And as we move into that level of understanding, the earth will transform. Yes, everyone will become vegetarian. But at this point in time, the animals and the cycle and where we're at, um, mankind is not ready for that. I will say I'm mostly vegetarian. I do um, uh, eat meat and fish, and these are the of minor importance when it comes to what mankind does to each other, what we do to all life. So there's a big curve of awakening coming forth. And as our societal infrastructure breaks down, as the lies of the control matrix of the earth are revealed, the world governments are all out of money. Every world government has had fallen influences influencing the entire societal infrastructure. And this goes a lot into money. That's the linchpin of how they've controlled us. We believe money. Money is everything, right? No, it's not. Your sovereignty, your creativity, your love, your compassion, your patience, your kindness, your random acts of charity, your faith, your temperance, your courage, your equanimity, your honesty, your loyalty, your perseverance. All of these things are very important for what the soul takes with you. So not be enamored by this material world. Those millionaire listings and all those people going around concerned with image and power. That's not power, folks. That's not power. Okay? You can't take those Ferraris, those Bugattis, those Mayfairs, those death traps called Tesla, those lithium batteries. And I'll give you a little preview on the next one. We're going to talk about the fires. We're going to go a little more into the financial system, and I'm going to talk a little more about ground command. And this is a hard understanding for a lot of people, uh, and we'll go into that. But let's talk about um, uh, I think we'll save the fires, but that is an attempt at a money grab and a frequency control of the earth These demons were promised money when they would create uh, traumatic experiences and kill a lot of people because these other beings worship blood and death. That's extended into their Hollywood matrix as well as the elites. So, victory to the light. Excuse me. God bless you all. And please stay tuned and get ready to save some money for my Mount Shasta Summer Conference. It's going to be June 28th through July 3rd. And I have room for about 40 to 50 people, as I said. I will have room for some volunteers, and there will be some much higher financial output for those who wish to become a volunteer because I've had people blow off the $100 and leave me without people. This is a much smaller conference. You're going to spend time with a Venusian named Omnek, a starseed named Raymond Keller, who was able to view his past lives and the true understanding of the nature of the soul. He's got like what, 11, 12 books out. He's writing others, and he'll be ascending this year. They will come down, they'll take his memories, he will die, and he will go to Venus. And if I'm still around, I'm hoping in 2026 that he will come and visit me, and I'll show you all photographic evidence of an ascended master if I'm allowed to. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get to meet him uh, sometime by next year, which is 2026. I'm also here to tell you I'm going to make a big prophecy right now. And there've been a lot of spaceships around, and there's been some government ones, and there's been some drones, and there's a lot of confusion. And this is what the deep state wants. They're not going to be able to create a fake alien invasion. They're doing some activities of that nature, but the real intended fake alien invasion was to blow up buildings with holograms like they did with the 9/11. No plane hit the building. That was a hologram from a smaller one. There's evidence of a holographic projection machine that created that, and they did have explosions in the building. So you've been hoodwinked. You've been had. Remember that big 9/11 document? That was actually pretty much a copy of Hitler's, control after he blew up the Reichstag in order to take control. You're being played like a fiddle, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll talk about the death of Donald Trump in 2025. Oh my God, are people freaking out? They're going to die. They're so vested in a savior, a convicted felon who's just was convicted this week, who's now going to become president. If you're a convicted felon, you can't even get a job at the DMV or the post office. So just be aware Trump was a greedy, materialistic, um, adultering, let's call it rapist slash whatever. I'm sorry for those of you who know me. I love to push your button and blow it up. So if that's too much for you, put it aside. You're going to find out he may not even be inaugurated. They push it back. They may let him die naturally, or they may create another fake assassination attempt. All of those were fake attempts. Blood on his ear. Where's the scratch in his ear? The second clone died over a month ago. The second of the final clone. He's not hiding in Cheyenne. So there's a lot of things that we're going to wake you up to, but mostly it's going to be about the light and the love and the promise and the wonderful, exciting times. As there are aspects in the naval intelligence and the secret space program who are preparing to do a series of unleashing information. They're afraid at this time it'll be too much for most people to handle. And there's a lot of contacts going on amongst the indigenous people of the world who don't have access to phones in Africa, in various tribal situations around the world. where there is no internet. They live a very simple, humble life. They're beginning to communicate with extraterrestrials and having their own experiences. So it's important that mankind be prepared for the many thousands of spaceships that are coming to this planet, and they're going to increase. And my job is to keep you calm and patient. And yeah, there's some bad things out there, some bad guys, but for the most part, the good guys are going to help us when our food systems go down, when our satellites go down, and they're going to go down. The temperature in the outer space is a lot. We're going to go into that next time. So keep your eyes on the open sky. In the words of one of my favorite artists, Jackson Brown, you never know what may be coming down. So um, be aware that we have space family. The universe is vast. God is great. God is good. And God bless the God within you. Uh, Thank you all so much for this little long-winded talk, but I think it's time that I get going and start rewriting more and get the information and start revealing information. So check it out. Sign up for my website if you haven't already. It's going to be big this year, the conference. The last time you're going to see Raymond Keller, possibly the last time Omnic will present in person as well. Um, and then in 2026, the Venusians will be posing for spaceships above Mount Shasta, Sedona, and the Grand Tetons in Wyoming on July 4th. There may be a little flap of UFOs, but on July 4th, right here on this mountain, they're going to be posing fleets of 15, 20. They're not going to go anywhere. They're going to strike a pose. Thousands and thousands of people will be taking videos of them in these locations. And this is to wake you the heck up that we're not alone and that there's no need to fear our brothers and sisters from the sky. I'm a representative. I've met them. I know their intentions. And there's many others that are coming, but they probably won't come because they do look different from us. And it's going to take a while for people to absorb that. So you want to know the true messages of the ascended masters and of Christ and how we're going to transform this planet. I suggest you pay attention to the books and the information on my website. And there's others as well. All right. So, uh, and I don't know what else to say, man. It's going to be an amazing, challenging, and shocking time for many, but in the end, it's liberation and resurrection. God bless you all.